Ah, it's the classic case of Gary thinking that he's getting a free vacation disguised as a business trip, only to find out he's actually the main act.
Yeah, Elle. I'm out here in Austin. I'm at AAJA. I am on a couple of panels, and this is just a reminder that I will be telling everybody I speak with today. Be your own best marketing department because last night I was at an ESPN meet and greet function dinner, and I was at a table with some of our colleagues for literally an hour. When I had a man break the silence about 30 minutes in, shake my hand and go, "What's your name? Are you a director? What do you do at the company?" He was a marketing department senior lead for the last 25 years. Elle, it hurt. Elle, it hurt real bad. Elle.
It's literally this man's job at the company to
Yeah.
market, and he was like, "And what are you again?
Yeah. Yep.
What are you,
Yep.
Gary Stryuski?"
That's me. That's me. Dude. Elle, it hurt.
Oh, no. Oh, man. Listen, sometimes we find ourselves in these situations, as you have found yourself in a situation listening to the Elle Duncan Show. We thank you for that. Hopefully, you won't regret it. You find yourself in a situation where the universe just needs to hand you a ton of humbling. You're going to NAJA, you are thinking that you are going to just sort of be a passerby. You're going to do a little networking, you're going to go to some
Mhm,
panels, only to find out you're in like 100 panels. You're the guy, Gary. Like you
mhm,
are a big integral part of this. The young journals want to talk to you. They want to be Gary
mhm.
Streisky when they grow up. God love them. And so this is the universe's way of being
You
like,
didn't need that part.
okay, hold up, hot.
I know.
Just remember, not everybody knows who you are, including the people who 100% determine if you get extra marketing money.
Straight up, Elle, like, And Elle, you know me. Like, listen, you
Oh,
know me. If you're a first time viewer listener, you know that my favorite meal is humble pie. Okay, I eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, but Elle, it was literally the perfect juxtaposition, the perfect contrast of conversations within a literal 30-minute span. Because on the front end of this, I get there and it's a big room. They rented out, the back room of a local taco spot here. And there were literally people who we work with who were coming up to me and be like, "Oh man, there's a lot of people who are excited because unfortunately this is my first AAJA because I've always had to work them. So I'm glad that I get to be here." And there was three people who were like, "We've already been given the directive to like have a hawkeye on you because we know people will be wanting to talk to you. So there's like a written 15-minute-ish limit one-on-one with people." So I'm thinking to myself, damn, I got a security detail. Like y'all are going to be watching me specifically to make sure like my time is allocated properly. That's awesome.
so
And
extra.
then not but 20 minutes later,
Yeah.
I'm at a table. It's four of us all talking about literally like me doing Snapchat, me doing this. And there's a gentleman literally was like, "Who are you? You're a director. What do you do?" L.
Are you an
And
intern? You should have
but
said, "I'm Pablo Torre."
Dude, and afterwards, like, he was just, "I'm so sorry, like, yeah, I'm so sorry, I work different hours." But then come to find out, this man, I'm not gonna say his name because I was just busting
As
his
you shouldn't.
chops, was like, "Yeah, I work on the This Is Sports Center spots." I was like, "I was just in one a year ago with Jason Tatum. That he's the reason they won the champion." Anyway, it was just
Yeah, and he was like, "Yeah, and the person I needed to know in that commercial was Jason
Was
Tatum."
so it was funny, Elle. It was, my first dose
Of
of
humble pie.
AAJA. It was a nice warm welcome.
That sounds great. Speaking of Jason Tatum, he and the Olympic team rolling in America. We'll get into some Olympic stuff. We'll also get into some huge news in the college sports landscape brought to us by Mr. 305. Dale,
Damn!
Pitbull. We're going to be joined by Harry Lyles, friend of the program and
Whole
college
lot of
football
handsome.
reporter. He'll be fun. All of that is still ahead, but you mentioned that you are not a goat yet, and you are not because this man who literally works with you had no idea who you are.
Mhm.
100% the face card would never be declined for some of the Olympic goats. And now that we've seen a few of them sort of wrap up their performances, that being Simone Biles, her Olympic is done, maybe forever. Same with Katie Ledecky. She's done. We wanted to debate who is the true king, the one true Olympic GOAT. And here are some of the nominees, Gary, and I'll let you give your bronze, silver, and gold medal to these three.
Mhm.
And I'll help present the argument to you. All right. So, of the Olympic GOATs, I think Michael Phelps, of course, Simone Biles, Usain Bolt.
Mhm.
We forget how dominant of a run that he had. Katie Ledecky,
Mhm.
and in a very dark horse position, Shaun White.
Correct.
Okay, so Michael Phelps, really quickly, most decorated athlete in Olympic history, 28 medals, 23 of them gold. Okay. In Beijing, he was the first athlete to win 8 gold medals at one Olympics. This man was ridiculous in Fuego. There's, of course, Simone Biles, most decorated gymnast ever, 41 world and Olympic medals. She's incredible. Got a handful more this time. Usain Bolt, he was an 8-time gold medalist.
Mhm.
He still is the world record holder in the 100, 200, and 4 by 100 meters relay. There's Katie Ledecky, who has
Mhm.
20 medals of her own. Many call her the female Michael Phelps. You could say that Michael Phelps is the male Katie Ledecky.
Oh,
19 gold, 1
that's
silver,
good.
most ever by a woman swimmer in the history of the sport. And then there's Shaun White, which when you compare resumes, his doesn't seem all that impressive. 3 gold medals on the half pipe in 2006, 2010, and then in 2018.
Mhm.
Who is your bronze medalist for Olympic GOAT?
We can immediately, and this is obviously no disrespect to any of these freaking athletes, we can immediately put Shaun White out of the Olympic GOAT conversation
With you.
and put him instead in the greatest winter sport athlete of all
Yes.
time,
Yeah.
whether it be X Games, Winter Olympics. I mean, it's unequivocally him, what he's done in a half pipe. Going in reverse order here, I think I would have to go, and this sounds crazy. I think I would go 3, 2, 1 as Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, Simone Biles.
Mm.
And here's why I think that. We always talk about like bigger, stronger, faster. Just in this Olympics, we have seen people on the US men's swim team call Leon Marchand possibly the next Michael Phelps in what his success has looked like at this Olympics. 28 gold medals is just stupid. 28 Olympic medals is just so stupid of a number for Michael Phelps. That's unbelievable. Unattainable, we're not sure. As far as Usain Bolt, the bigger, stronger, faster thing, I go back to that graphic that we had in 1988. Carl Lewis won the gold in the 100 meter by running a 992 100
Mhm.
meter dash. In this last 100 meter that Noah Lyles won, the last place runner ran a 991. So athletes are getting faster, they are getting stronger, they are getting bigger. What I've not heard a comparison for is Simone Biles, right? What she is able to do, literally nobody else, one, can do, or two, has not even attempted. And when we're talking about the greatest athletes of all time, when your colleagues and counterparts are saying the stuff that she's doing, only she can do,
Sure.
and we don't hear that about any other athlete, I think that automatically puts her as the greatest Olympian of all time.
I think that's a really actually very compelling argument, and I can hear you there. We keep saying that this French guy could be Michael Phelps based
Correct.
on this particular Olympics and the run that he's been on the last year, but could be is very different than will be. I mean, that was the
Understood.
thing about Michael Phelps was sustained greatness, and then just this assurance that everything that he was going to do, he was going to medal in and gold medal in, and he
Mhm.
pretty much did that. I mean, again, 23 of those 28 medals are in fact gold. He won 8 and 1. But when you talk specifically, like, about just Olympics, I'm gonna just for the interest of, like, having a different list from you, because I 100% can make the same argument for you to have that exact same list. I'm gonna make an argument when it comes to just Olympics
Mhm.
that nobody used the platform of the Olympics specifically to become a bigger star than Usain Bolt did. Like Usain, you know what I mean? Like Usain Bolt, when track and field was in its heyday, and it's starting to like get a little bit more of that sort of favor again because we're starting to get some names that are
Mhm.
becoming household names, Noah Lyles and whatnot, and all of that. But when it was in its heyday, track and field was the thing that could legitimize and make a complete and absolute star out of somebody. And it's
Yeah.
just this idea that for 10 seconds, I mean, you've got 10 seconds. And like in gymnastics, it's so incredibly difficult to do what Simone Biles is doing. A, because we've talked about this. the length with which she's doing it in a sport where you peak at 19 years old. She's still dominating at 27 years old,
Mhm.
even after taking a couple of years off to deal with, her mental health and her life. And so what she's doing is so amazing. But to think that like your entire livelihood comes down to 10 seconds, 20 seconds if you're running the 200. If it like I just don't think that anybody was able to catapult themselves into the national and worldwide lore in the same
Yeah,
way that Usain Bolt was. Like there was not for his run, there wasn't a single person in this world that didn't know what this meant.
for
Like
sure.
I just so I'm gonna say in terms of just like Olympic goats and people who were able to use the Olympics, Usain Bolt is there. I'd put Simone Biles at 2 and Michael Phelps at 3, which feels stupid because again, the man is Mr. Olympian. He's got 28
Correct.
medals. But I just mean in terms of, like who was able to Michael Phelps again was sustained. Usain Bolt was just a pocket of time. It really was when you sort of think about his run and what he was able to do in that time and who he became just was, the entire country of Jamaica was like
Yeah.
just the national pride and the I think no one's ever been able to capitalize on what the Olympics can bring you with as much real estate as he had, which was very little, not a lot of real estate. And it was always about Usain Bolt and he was
Yeah.
must watch TV in the same way that Simone and Michael Phelps are too. So it's a good problem to have that you've all. And again, we left off Katie Ledecky who had
Correct, which is
19
again,
gold medals. Like this is
there's
ridiculous.
no winners and there's no losers in this list. We are not besmirching any of these people. And you're right with Usain Bolt. I mean, he was box office. You ask anybody who's a runner or an Olympian you think of, even though he hasn't competed in the last 2 Olympics, it's Usain Bolt. It's unbelievable. I think for me, it's just like all records are meant to be broken. So the 9.5 that he set with the world record in the 100 meter and, the iconic shot of him looking back at the entirety of the freaking Olympics field is just, it's unbelievable. But I got to think that, like, as these athletes continue to get better and faster, that even those records will fall. I just don't know if we're going to see the dominance and the ability to do what they do in their specific sport, like we see Simone Biles. I mean,
Yeah.
these Olympians are like, she's twice as fast, she jumps twice as high as any of us.
She's got like 11 things named after her,
Correct.
like
That's what I'm
things
saying.
that
That's
have
what I'm
never
saying.
been attempted in competition that are literally named the Biles on
Yes,
every single event because
correct.
of how absolutely dominant she is. So it's a
Yeah,
list that I want to get away from because it's
it's a
like the
winner's
more
list,
you talk, it's like, man, I made Simone Biles. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
straight up.
Speaking of nuts, there's a game
Are you
within
going
a
to talk about the
game.
French pole vaulter? Oh, okay.
No, me trying to show my husband that video. He's like, I'm all set. I read the headline. It's fine. I'm like, okay,
Hey,
cool.
hey, hold on.
He's like, I don't,
Hold on,
yeah,
because I
to
know
see.
Omar, and that's
Yeah.
funny. He was probably doing something, and you were like, "Hey, oh, did you see this?" And he just was continuing to do whatever he was doing. He's like, "I'm
He's like,
good."
cool. The story explained it all. Hit the pole. Got it.
That's hilarious
I
because I
need
can
no further
literally
evidence of
picture.
that happening. But
I can picture Omar doing it.
one of the things that I love that's happening at the Olympics, especially this week, is the awkward. All right. There were
Oh my god.
3 stories I think that really, really punctuate that point. That there's some awkward that's happening in France right now. We're in like what, day 13, 14. Like this is where we're
Yeah,
starting to really see people lose it. They've
coming to
been
an end.
living and sleeping on cardboard boxes. They're missing their family. Whatever is happening. They've been around their family too long and now they're bickering. And so it starts with what I think was an awkward exchange at the Olympics, and that was LeBron James interacting with Tom Brady. Did you see this interaction,
Oh
Gary?
yeah. Oh
Right.
yeah. I didn't think anything of it until you gave your perspective, and I'm like, oh,
Okay,
oh.
so LeBron's like having this interaction with Tom Brady. He's with his wife Savannah James, and he's essentially like, oh, this is my wife Savannah. Like I wouldn't be here without her. She's so amazing. So, our producers posed the question like is that awkward to say to a man who is very famously went through a very public divorce recently,
Mhm.
right? Um, is that awkward? I actually, as a married person, saw it totally different. I saw it as, oh, LeBron is a husband who was probably pissing his wife off before that interaction with Tom Brady. And so he did that thing that spouses do when they like overpraise their spouse to try to be like the nice guy. So they were probably bickering, and then Tom Brady walks up and he's like, "Oh, this is my beautiful, lovely wife, Savannah. She bore 3 children of mine. She is my queen. She is an angel. She is the best. I am nothing without her."
She's my rock.
He's like, and what's her name?
This perspective is incredible, first and foremost, because one, I find it hilarious that like LeBron James is introducing Tom Brady as if he's just some joker off the street to his wife, as if they've probably not interacted a bajillion times prior to this. But two, the perspective that you just lent, because it was just completely over my head that LeBron probably found himself in a bad way with the only person that could probably hold anything over his head, which is his wife. And
Sure.
he was trying to turn the tables by being like, boom, laying it out just like you laid out. Elle, this is why this show is so important to the cultural fabric of our listeners, because they're getting insight into what life will be when they get to that point in their life, when they find that person. And until then, get the perspective and the realness of what actually went down.
I wanted
Brady
them to
gave her the
cut.
side hug, which I
Yeah, well,
was
I wanted them to cut to Savannah's face because in my mind, if I was in that situation when he said all that, if I was actually mad at him, I would have you smile through your teeth. You're like, mm-hmm. The hug was also a touch awkward,
mhm,
which listen, I don't know what kind of hugger you are. I'm definitely a hugger. I tell
yes.
people, I warn people because I don't want to be intrusive. When I meet people, if I want to hug them, I'll be like, I'm a hugger, like, are we good? But when I go in for a hug, I like to be very respectful of the fact that I've got a pound of makeup on most
Mhm.
times. And so when I go in for the hug, I warn. I'm like, hey, I got makeup on. I'm going to hug you weird. So I go in for the hug, fully committed with my arms, but I like turn my head in a very awkward
Yeah,
way so that I don't get, and that's out of protection. There's nothing worse than when you hug
correct.
someone and then you just see a brown print on their shirt. You're
Because
like,
you're not the
oops,
tallest person. So like when you hug, you'll leave some debris,
chest. Yeah.
some debris, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just nice of you to do.
Yeah.
And it's really dependent on like what kind of hugger you are. You're for sure like when I'm a hugger, like I'm like a sideways V. I'm crotch out. You know what I'm saying? I'm pushing out but leaning in, as there to be, no
You
awkward.
crotch out?
It's not like an intimate hug, but I kind of, and I'm sort of like one arm over, one arm under, which can catch
Yeah.
people
Like
off
the,
because I think one of these hugs, that one's intimate because you sort of bring them in like this. You got to sort of be like a seatbelt hug. Boom.
I can't wait for everyone at AAJA to come and give you numerous awkward hugs. Guys,
Yeah,
if you have an awkward hug encounter with Gary, make sure to tweet at me, Elle Duncan ESPN. All right, so
I'm bringing it in. I'm just bringing it in. Come here, bring it in.
if the LeBron Savannah interaction with Tom Brady was awkward, let's get to the more awkward, which was mixed double partners,
Oh
a
gosh.
Czech duo named Katerina Siniakova and Tomas Machak reportedly broke up and then they still decided we got to get this gold. And I feel like that is the plot of a Zendaya movie from this year. Isn't what that
Oh
tennis movie
yeah,
was about? Was that
yeah.
like she was like friends and then they
Something
like
like
had
that,
to.
right? Tom Holland got to be red hot mad because there was that one scene that went viral. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they were prophetic and they predicted this, but it begs the question. They actually win gold despite the fact that
It's
they break up
incredible.
and still decide that they're going to do this. And it really it's begging the question amongst everyone, do you think that you could work with your ex or have you had to work with your ex before?
This is definitely the hotline question, L, for sure.
Yeah.
This has to be. And
Could you put all the things aside and for a common goal make it happen?
I mean, probably not. I think that would be the resounding answer for most people. Like like we're assuming like we've, for the purposes of this hypothetical, like work in the same sort of field. Like, oh, let's say for example this. Your ex is also a Sports Center anchor and you have to do a show with them.
Well, first of all, it's our job to do a great job and make you like everybody I've ever worked with, people will be like, that's your best friend, isn't it? I'm like, that's what you think. That's how it's supposed to be. Like, it's our job to sell chemistry. That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
So we could make it work. But that's the point. I don't shit where I eat. I never have. I don't do it. I do not where I eat for that very reason. And I've got a friend who will remain nameless. If she hears this podcast, she's going to text me and be like, but she knows who she is. She started dating a guy at her job, and keep in mind her job is like not a super big place. Like it's a job that is an elite level type of job, but there's not a ton of people that work there, right? So she starts
Oh,
dating this guy. I recognize that when you have a high demand job and you work a lot of hours, it's difficult to meet people, which is why I think she
okay.
was meeting people at work. But so she meets this guy, they date for years. They
Okay.
break up. Wasn't the best breakup. He was doing some low down dirty.
Oh God.
They still work together. They still see each other, right?
Ooh.
To double down, she starts dating another guy at work.
What? She likes it messy.
They break up.
Oh
She
no.
then works with both of them.
Damn. Are they aware of the statuses?
Yeah, well, they know about each other. So even when the second, when she was dating the second, like the first knew and like, they worked like sort of different shifts, but they had a general awareness that, it was all happening and then she felt very awkward. Eventually one of them had to leave. Then when she broke up with the other one after over a year, and these were long-term relationships, but after a bit, the other
Oof.
one had to quit professions and move to another city. It's like one
Damn.
of us has to go, bruh. If we do this, one of us has to go because we can't exist in this same space together.
Yeah, no, see, that's the thing. I guess based off of that, I've not been in many relationships, but all of the ones that obviously have ended, they've all just been like clean breaks. Everybody go their own way. So I can't even imagine a scenario where I would have to like coexist with like an ex. So I guess for the purposes of this question, there's no way. There's no way I could do that. I don't know. What about you? I mean, you're married, so you ain't had to worry or think about that in forever, but like, could you?
No, I mean, I have not. Now, I will say I did date someone sort of adjacent to my job many, many years ago.
Uh-huh.
But luckily, that person moved on to another city, and that kinda took care of that, so it was great. I didn't have
Hey,
to actually see
hey.
them anymore, which was perfect. It kinda took care of the whole situation, but we'd love to pose that question to you since Gary threw it out there on our voicemail. If you don't know we have a voicemail, we're trying to talk to you in some ways.
Get our line.
203-805-8166. That's 203-805-8166. You have any weird interactions with exes? Have you had to work with an ex? Have you had to work on a common goal
Oh my
with an ex
gosh.
to get what you think that's awkward, though? I gotta tell you the most awkward story at the Olympics by
There's
far.
more?
And there are so many layers to this, which is why I think it is the most awkward. Okay.
Oh my
So
god.
LeBron Savannah exchange with Tom Brady, awkward. More awkward, having to win a gold medal with your ex. Most awkward, French athlete Alice Finot sets a European steeplechase record for the
Okay.
3,000-meter steeplechase and then promptly runs over to the stands and proposes to her boyfriend
I
with a
love it.
pin.
I love it. I love it.
Oh my god, I hate that.
I love that. Why? Tell me why you hate that. Elle,
I hate
that's
it for a few reasons. First of all, do you realize, hey, she didn't even win the race. She didn't win. So I get it, like you win gold and she came in 4th place.
okay.
Which tells me a couple of things. If she set a European record and came in 4th place, the Europeans suck at the steeplechase.
Fact.
Second of all, what? Third of all, she said she did it because they'd been together for 9 years and
Damn.
he wasn't doing it, so she figured I might as well do it.
Boom.
Fourth of all, she did it in a public place, which I am so anti-public proposals. I think it's weird and creepy. I think it's so unfair to put someone on the spot, and in particular in a non-traditional type of proposal. Now, I'm all for women embracing and owning who they are and saying like, this isn't, I'm not going to abide by these tropes, these stereotypes that the man has to do it. I'm going to take it into my own hands. That's fine, but also you have to consider how the man might feel when you do it in front of the whole entire world. Now, everyone is going, 9 years and he never proposed. Maybe he was telling you something there, sweetie, and you kind of forced his hand by doing it in front of everyone. I mean, we
Oh,
kind of saw it with I believe they were the Chinese badminton players. She had just won a gold medal, and her boyfriend stole her big moment by proposing to her. He didn't even get on a knee. Everyone was like, "This was such a big individual moment for her, and you ruined it by making it about yourself." They were in their 20s, and if there's one thing that you take away from me in my time on this earth, it's that
mhm.
I am a firm believer that you should never give away your 20s. Never,
No,
ever,
that's good.
ever, ever. When I see these college kids after a game on the football field propose to the cheerleader, I want to throw something at the TV. I'm
Well,
not
that's as
anti
I
love.
mean,
I don't
listen,
hate love. I hate love for 21-year-olds because it's just you have your whole life. Wait till you're 30.
that's just the SEC, baby, baby. And hey, as millennials get older and we can't afford nothing, we're putting off all that stuff, Elle. So yeah, wait till you're in your 30s. Like my
Do you
mom
think
said,
that it's demoralizing to get proposed to? Like, if Abby just took this
no,
into her own hands, would you be like,
No, no, no. And here's the thing. I have just a quick little anecdote about
Okay.
all of that. I'm a traditionalist in that sense. So no worries. TBD. She's a listener and viewer, so don't be, giving away too much of my future plans. But I once posed this in our Sports Center Snapchat office because the all the talk was about how like gender roles are stupid and equality and all of that stuff. To which I just said, okay, if gender roles are so stupid, to one of our female colleagues who's no longer at the network, she's gone on to bigger and better things. I said, okay, would you propose to your boyfriend? If gender roles aren't supposed to be a thing. She was like, ew, no. Why would you even think of saying that? I was like, well, if gender roles aren't supposed to exist in this made up world of yours, what's wrong with getting on a knee and asking your boyfriend to be your future husband? Oh, no. So I'm like, you're either a traditionalist, and I use that as air quotes because it's just an overarching thing, or you're not. Pick a side. You know what I'm saying? Like we see a woman do this and we're just like, oh my gosh, that's a man's job. I thought that there were no gender specific jobs.
Well, I think every woman feels that way until she's fed up and she's like, "Are you ever gonna do this?
See,
Like,
that's
are
what I'm
you
saying.
ever going I mean, 9 years is a
9 years
long
is a
time
lot.
if you're in your 30s already. You know, it's a long time to have been dragging your feet about doing this, but again, I also think that, like, maybe that should, like, have told you something? I mean, if she had said afterwards, "Listen, we've talked about it. Both of us have talked about the fact it could come from either one of us, like, whatever." But she basically admitted, like, "He won't do it, so I just figured I'll just take it into my own hands."
Just like our producer Dave just dropped in the chat, he was waiting for a nice, tidy, round number. He wanted a decade in. So that way they can say, I was with her for 10 years and I can't wait to
Damn.
spend the next 10 years with you. That's 100 years. So it's just all about the round even numbers. And maybe our guy, Mr. Fino, was waiting to hit that decade mark before he asked.
You said Mr. Fino, that's not his name, but
I
when your
know.
wife is the one that proposes to you, do you have to take her name? I
You're
feel like
Mr.
that should be
Hey, yeah.
right? That should be a prerequisite, like, if you make me get on this knee, you're gonna take my name,
You're
okay?
Mr. Fino now, my boy.
Speaking of which, FIU Stadium used to have a name. I don't know what it was, but I know what it is now. On the other side
Hey.
of the Elle Duncan Show, we're going to be joined by Harry Lyles as we break down one of the biggest, most innovative moves in college football. And it comes to us from Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305. All right, Gary, we're back on the Elle
Oh,
Duncan Show. And we had some news this week.
come on.
It was revolutionary, it was
Yep.
groundbreaking, innovative, something that we'd never seen before in the history of college athletics. And it came from Pitbull. I was a little I'm not gonna lie. I was like,
Dale.
"Wait, what?"
Mm-hmm.
So news this week as we bring in our colleague, football reporter, noted College Game Day's finest, Harry Lyles,
Hey,
to
show
help
just got
us
a whole
break
lot more handsome.
this is definitely true, and he's wearing a quarter of the makeup. Let him be your guide, Gary. You don't have to wear all that foundation to still be beautiful.
I don't believe it.
I'll send you the skincare routine, Gary.
I
It's all
appreciate
good.
that, man.
Yeah.
So we get this news that Pitbull, the rapper, is going to have the naming rights, Harry Lyles, to FIU Stadium, Florida International University, which is famously located in Miami, where famously Pitbull is constantly telling you that he's from, Mr. 305. And he goes on SportsCenter, Harry, and he talks about how this has never been done before, and this is gonna be the most amazing thing that's ever happened. And I've got to ask you, were you surprised that we were getting this level of innovation from Pitbull?
I mean, yes and no. So, like, the part where I am surprised is like, this is unique. We've never seen anything like this before. I think the part where it's less surprising is FIU is still a relatively young program. Like, they didn't start playing football until 2002. Like, though,
Mm.
we're talking about a baby of a program, and not in a bad way. It's generally a young program. And so from that standpoint, when you look at it and you look at the money involved and all of those things, like it's not even just about the naming rights, right? Like we're talking about him being involved in their NIL and things like that. And we know how much that is affecting the college football landscape. So it all makes sense for everybody involved, especially when you see he gets to use the stadium 10 times a year and all these different kinds of things. Like, it is the perfect amount of ridiculous, both for him, college football, and that program in general. So like, it oddly makes all of the sense.
Okay, so Gary, let's run through the details real fast,
Straight up.
right? It's a 5-year deal, $6 million. That's what Pitbull is paying. And he's going to get the naming rights to FIU Stadium. It stands to reason it's going to be Pitbull Stadium. Okay. He gets Volley 305 vodka sold at games. I'm assuming that is his vodka or he has some stake in it. He gets 2 suites for up to 40 people. He gets use of the venue, as Harry just said, for 10 days out of the year. And he gets the title Official Entrepreneur of FIU Athletics. All this for just over $1 million per year. Is this a good deal, Gary?
This is fantastic. And initially, when I saw this story come across, I was like, ooh, this is a cry for help. This reminds me of like one time I was driving through Chicago and Brian Urlacher was on all of the highway billboards for like men's hair replacement. And, you know, you get these athletes who are regionally specific starting to do like the local law firm jingles. And I'm like, ooh, Pitbull is down in a bad way. But then I saw what he gets out of this. And this is chess when other people are playing checkers type moves, man. Use of the venue for 10 years. He gets to have 10 free stadiums and collect that gate, or 10 free shows and collect that gate. Suite for up to 40 people. He's doubling the attendance, I assume, at FIU games if he fills those things up. This is awesome. Harry, tell us what we're not seeing here, because this to me is dope.
Really? Why has no one done this?
This to me like has me Googling how much a highway sign costs so I could just throw up all my handles for $2,000 a month and see if I can get some followers.
It's not even that though. The part of this too that it wasn't necessarily buried, but it seems like the part that a lot of people are skipping over is that he's making an anthem for the school, right? Like, we know Pitbull, everybody has the nostalgia for, I think it was the 2013 NBA playoffs where like they had Timber basically playing on every single commercial, like during the games, and how people like have this nostalgia for that and that particular playoffs. Like, he is taking what he called a poll. It was not a poll. He's basically trying to find out like, hey, what are like the chants and stuff that you guys use so that we could put it into a song. That song is going to be incredible. Like, everybody has, you know, their Roll Tide, their War Eagle, the War chant if you're Florida State. Like, the Pitbull college football anthem is going to be something that I think is going to make a lot of programs. I think my alma mater, Georgia State, who's one of the most famous alumni, is Ludacris, look around and be like, wait a minute, do we need to do this as well? Like, I genuinely think that this is going to be something that is the start of something new.
Which is incredible because everybody, now that we're taking a trip down memory lane, remembers the meme where it's like making a Pitbull song is literally just 3 steps. 1, yell dale. 2, sprinkle in a couple words in Spanish. 3, list a couple cities. Boom, you just made a Pitbull song. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you make a Pitbull song.
So here's the thing, you guys. I actually think Pitbull notoriously remixes like other songs. In fact, he just remixed a song with Dolly Parton. He remixed 9 to 5. I got to be honest, it's one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life. It's horrific. It's bad. And I like Pitbull. Like, I think, you know, Pitbull has a place in the world and it's almost always exclusively when you're drunk in Miami, but it's good music for those very specific situations. No, I'm a fan, but I feel like we don't have to think too far outside of the box here, because someone many years ago, Harry Lyles, Atlanta's own, gave us, I think, a little bit of a path to FIU having their own song that Pitbull could just simply remix and make his own by yelling Dale a couple of times and saying Mr. Worldwide. Are you ready? You ready for the song?
Yes.
Okay. See, I'm riding around high in the 305, heading to FIU. To the Canes and the Gators who pick on us, I'm like, F-U-N, FSU too, you're probably hating, cause Pitbull is raving, huh? Well, ain't that some Let's go!
That's a banger! I mean,
you
gotta get permission from you gotta get permission from CeeLo, but I mean, other than that, you should be straight.
You know what I mean? I'm going to workshop it. I think we can do better, but I'm just saying, like, there are already paths to greatness for Pitbull, Harry, and he really only needs to look just a little bit far north to Atlanta for it.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, everything is Atlanta. Atlanta breeds greatness. I mean, Mr. 305, he is Mr. Worldwide now. But hey, we don't have to go worldwide. Just look up 75, man. There's
100%.
inspiration everywhere.
So Harry, in Atlanta, I'm intrigued. Like, what in Atlanta could we potentially try and buy? Like, let's be real. A part of him being able to get the naming rights is that it's pretty cheap. Like, most naming rights are in the like gazillions, hundreds of
Yeah.
millions of dollars. This one was relatively cheap because, to your point, it's a fresher, newer, younger program. It doesn't exactly have the same yoke as an FSU or a UF
Sure.
or whatever, or the U. Where in Atlanta do you think that we could get cute and potentially have the Elle Duncan Show or Harry Lyles get some naming rights off?
Oh,
Okay, so this made me actually look up what Georgia State's deal was with what we're calling Center Park Stadium now.
damn, Harry, you
Yeah.
And
got it
that
like that in the
deal,
contract?
that deal, I believe, is only like 200,000 more dollars a year than this Pitbull deal. And it lasts 15 years, so we might have to wait for it. But honestly, by the time that thing is up, if we kind of stay on this path and continue to be very successful people, put our money in the right places, like that stadium's name is for
Yeah.
the taking. And
Yeah.
honestly, that is a place that I think you and I hold near and dear to our hearts, as a place that we knew as Centennial Olympic Stadium, that we
Sure.
then knew as Turner Field, that we then knew as Georgia State Stadium. Don't care particularly about the naming rights that they've got now, because we are going to take them in, I think we'll have another 12 years,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think we can make that happen. 12 years is a long time.
Yeah. I love that you think in just a couple of years we'll have like $12 million
Yeah.
to do that. That's cute. What
Yeah.
do you do? Because I don't. I was thinking more like Lakewood, because Lakewood Amphitheater is kind of ratchet, and I can't imagine it would be that expensive to like slap our name up on Lakewood. But yeah, I love where your head is at.
Yeah, you gotta aim high. Like, come on
Hey,
now. We
listen.
know enough people both in, different industries, right? Like, we've got some like financial type friends, I'll leave it at that, that might be able to help us, again,
Sure.
grow our financial portfolio in 12 years time
Uh-huh.
to be able to, let's say, we'll call it 2 million a year. Both you and me, like, I'm just saying, like, we're doing this podcast right now. We need to keep working. Okay.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And then we'll make
Everybody
it
knows
happen.
too, if you get your money in the stock market, it doubles every 7. So really,
Duh.
Oh.
y'all only need a handful of mills. Really.
Yeah.
And you guys know people. You know what I
I
mean?
feel like if I wanted to be true to Atlanta though, I couldn't name it like Elle Duncan Stadium. I would need to name it like American Deli Stadium,
Yes. Yep.
Lemon Pepper Wing Way or something. It just
On
need to be
Lemon
like
Pepper
something.
Field.
Oh, lemon
Yeah.
pepper field would
Yes.
actually be kind
I've
of
got
fire.
it. I've got it. All we need to do is team up with one of the most incredible establishments of all in Atlanta.
Magic
And
City.
it will literally tell you what you're going to see here at the stadium. Who doesn't want to play at Magic City? Like, you come into this stadium and you're going to get magic. And like, imagine, if Pitbull is going to be like doing his little concerts at FIU Stadium at halftime, instead of a band, you bring out the ladies from the actual Magic City to perform. Who amongst us is
Hey.
going to complain about that?
And y'all save a ton of cash on like outfitting the ushers, because you don't
Yeah.
have to wear anything. And let me know how I can get in as an angel investor, Elle, because I'm sold. Harry, just let me know. Like, my money's good too. Spends the same way.
I think that would
Alright.
be amazing. You know what I just thought about too? Like, so we've all been to these, everybody that's on this anyway has been to those sort of corporate events where you're like, you show up and they're like, we have a surprise performer. And it's like, oh, it's Flow Rida, right? So there are tiers. Let me give you guys a little bit of game here that are listening or watching. There are tiers to like sort of corporate level events where you can get these names depending on how much money and the range. And I know for a fact that Pitbull is in like the $150,000 to $175,000 range. For anywhere between $150,000 and $175,000, you can get Pitbull to come and perform for your corporation or whatever it is, and he'll do like 4 or 5 songs, right? So when you talk about getting 10 free days at the stadium at $150,000, $175,000 per, which is like usually what he charges for a mini set, he could be doing these little mini concerts and he'd get all of his money back and then some that he paid per year on the net. He's making money on this. It's just incredible.
Yeah. I mean, just a
Worldwide,
smart play
man.
all
This is
around.
great.
Again, I do not think that there is a single loser in this, except for
Correct.
maybe like the University of Miami. Why didn't you get the guy first?
Well, I mean, that's a
I'm not
heritage
saying.
brand right there. Hey,
Just saying.
Pitbull's got money. I don't think he's got the U money.
No, but if you are the you bring him in before
that's
he
true.
gets away, You gotta have depth on the roster, you know?
College football slate is out. Do you have any games scheduled? I mean, you're top tier part broadcast group, so I doubt that you're at any games at FIU, but
Not this year. Not this
okay.
year. Unless, maybe they run the table, surprise game day
Hey,
appearance.
Not a lot of Conference USA games for you. Can I just say something about Pitbull really quick? And I want this to be a lesson. And I'm saying this as Harry is leaning into Pitbull right now with his look. Pitbull is so smart because Pitbull has been around for like legit 20 years, right? Like this
yes.
dude, this dude's been around for a very long time. And he's always sort of been baldish with sunglasses on and a black outfit. That man is like the original Greg Oden. It's like he started out looking old. So 20 years later, he looks the same. And so we're like, Pitbull looks amazing. But I gotta be honest, I haven't Googled this at all. I've done no research here. I think Pitbull's got to be 50 years old. Is he 50? How
Is he
old
He's
is
gotta be.
Pitbull?
50? He's a
He's got to
50
be 50
burger?
years old. 40. Okay, so he's like 1
43.
year older than me. Okay. Are we
Jackson
sure
Agello,
about that?
43. Okay, well,
But
That's
you
a
get what I'm
shocker.
saying? Like, there's a lot to be said about leaning into your 40s in your 20s so that when you do hit your 40s, like, no one is like, look at this old man still out here trying to like sing and rap. Like, it's weird because he's just kind of ageless at this point.
Yeah, it's a good play, That's why I got out the game,
you're so stupid, Harry, bro.
I'm just saying, bro, Like,
Well, you were in your
this
20s, dude. Stop.
well, I'm 32,
Well,
but I
that's
still look
close
baby
enough.
faced.
32
You
is the
guys-
new 22.
For those that can't see Harry Lyles notoriously for his first couple of years here at ESPN had more hair than a little bit. He had so much hair. It was a lot of hair. In fact, it would take a few extra minutes for the directors to frame his hair. It was just a lot of hair and it was
Beautiful.
amazing. And then Harry just decided that all the hair was going to go. And what Harry did, what I would implore some others to do, Tiger Woods, is that Harry did the Patriots approach to hair, which is that before he started getting full-blown hair loss, he just let it all go, Better to be early than late.
Hmm.
And I want to commend you for that, Harry. It helps that you still have a very handsome face, but the idea that you would let all of that gorgeous hair go in an attempt to sort of, recognize where you were at in your life was really special of you.
Yeah, and I would just if you're at home and you're struggling with this, right? Some things as we age do not change. And we all know that when the lights came on, when you were a child, you had to go home. And you know what? Let's say you're 40 years old, the lights come on, we're seeing some of your scalp. It's time to come home, man. Come on home.
Damn, Harry.
You can do it.
Listen, man, I agree with Elle. You look fantastic. I will say, though, if Tahiti wasn't the place for the surfing competition in the Olympics, the way that you had them waves on the top of that scalp, bro,
Woo!
that could have been another
crispy.
option for the surfing
Hey.
competition, bro. So listen, one day, hopefully we'll get the wave check back. Until then, my bro is styling and profiling.
Yes. We will mourn what was and celebrate what currently is. Or
That's right.
you could always take the Gary Stricegear approach and go get some plugs. All right, Harry, thank you so much for
That's
joining us here
not
on the show.
true. Just go get some Rogaine and some finasteride. Will it make you infertile? Still yet to be determined. But
Time for me to go. Time for me to go. I appreciate it.
In the meantime, bro.
Will you grow breasts as a man? Potentially, but you'll have hair. So
You'll have hair. You be
much
straight.
hair.
Oh gosh.
Harry, we
You
hope
got
that we
Harry.
can talk to you for the college football season. You're a friend of the program. We're hoping you'll come back. We love you.
I'll always come back for you guys.
Dude, I love Harry. I tell this story. I'm going to tell this story till the end of time. I don't care. Harry Lyles was my intern in Atlanta for
Oh, that's
local
amazing.
news, and all the little old biddies, all of us old. I wasn't an old biddy back then. I was still somewhat young. I wasn't an auntie yet. But they loved Harry. He would wear his little like bow tie and like suspenders, and so Harry, he took quite a turn when he like got grown, got on TV, had all of this hair. He was very like Harry, and I'm liking the new vibes too. But I feel like, Gary, you lied to the people a little bit.
What?
I don't lie on this show, okay? Sometimes I bend the truth, but I don't lie on this show.
Okay.
And when I said that Gary Stricegear has hair plugs, I thought it had been established. Like, I thought that was like a thing everybody kind of knew. But
Everybody but me.
luckily, our producers found the evidence to support that at one point you didn't look exactly like an Abercrombie model. And I would like for you to if we could just pop this picture up.
Yo, I'm about to.
This
I'm
was what this is what
Before I
Gary
scroll
looked like
down, just
when
know
I
that I know where HR's office is. Building 16. I've been there once, and I'm about to bring all y'all in there. Hold on, let me scroll down. That's a violation, bro. That's a violation. Bro, y'all Devin Bookered me? What is this, dude? That's
Yo,
crazy.
so this is what Gary looked like when I met him in Boston, and it was like, bruh, you could really probably do some things in this industry if you would just like get that together. And look, alas, he has, and now he's being recognized or not down in Austin at
Y'all made me look like
AAJA.
Kim Jong-il. That's nuts, dude.
I'm
That's
ille, I'm ille, I'm
that's
ille.
crazy. That's also horrifying, dude. I'm only that far away from letting this whole house of cards crumble.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
A glimpse into your future, your past and your future, if you
It
let those
better
haircuts
not
go.
be. Better not be, Elle.
Wow, just incredible work by our producing team to discover
Is it?
that, to do the research, to find the pictures that support my evidence that Gary does in fact.
That's
Got a
a
little help.
violation.
Got a little help from his friends. Dr.
Man,
Leonard,
I
I
love how
believe there
y'all
was
are
a
so
whole
nice
special
to me
door.
on the program. Oh my God.
Gary, I hope that you have a great conference. I hope
Thank
that
you.
you have to beat away all of your adoring fans. I hope that finally someone at ESPN knows who you are. I hope you have a wonderful time in Austin and that you don't say anything stupid or crazy on the panels.
I will definitely be saying that, Elle, and I will see you next week.
That's right. Remember, give us a call at our voicemail, 203-805-8166. Could you work with an ex? Could you make it happen with an ex? Or what's your most awkward encounter with an ex? And honestly, if the universe wants to reward us, I would love for any of Gary's exes to show up at Austin and make one happen in real time.